What truly is the gift that keeps on giving? Is it money? Is it studying? Is it true love? Not in my book. So before we answer our question, let's turn to a short prompt which gets us thinking on the right track. Briefly reflect on the following questions in your mind. 1. How might your loved ones describe you? And 2. Why are you worth knowing? It's important to note that all of us are worth knowing in our different little ways. So just think about what those reasons might be for you. So let's take a few more seconds. Okay, now keep your answer in your mind as we turn to our next slide. As I understand it, the gift that keeps on giving is self-compassion. Now we hear about self-love, self-confidence, and self-care, but rarely ever self-compassion. So what is that? Am I right? Self-compassion is basically the act of showing compassion, kindness, and respect to ourselves, just as we would to a friend. This might look like comforting and encouraging yourself to do better next time after a low test score, or reminding yourself that you deserve better after being mistreated by someone. Self-compassion is about being in your own corner, always. The reason why self-compassion is the gift that keeps on giving is because it begets a cycle, a positive feedback loop of sorts. When I am compassionate to myself, I feel better, supported, and uplifted in the things that I set out to accomplish. As a result, my mental and emotional tank feels full, giving me more energy to achieve my goals and also empathize and connect with others. Of course, as we know, making connections and achieving our goals are amongst the most fulfilling things that we can do for ourselves. At this stage, we are proud of ourselves and better off than where we started, making it even easier to continue to be compassionate toward ourselves, kickstarting the cycle all over again. Of course, an important note to make here is that many of us feel more quote-unquote deserving of love and compassion when we have accomplished something tangible. But in time, it helps to learn that you deserve to be your own friend always and especially at your low points, which is why you can look at self-compassion as a form of unconditional love directed toward yourself. Thing is, our self-talk majorly colors the way that we see ourselves as well as others. If we are able to find worth from within, we can build up energy to form and maintain healthy relationships. As social creatures, so much of our interactions with life, with food, with places, with activities, they are reflections of the relationships that we have with ourselves and others. So at the end of the day, self-compassion makes an impact on our entire worldview, which is why it means so much to me to be able to talk about this with all of you. Our perception of life is a reflection of our relationships, and our relationships are a reflection of how we see ourselves. So it all starts from within, from that tiny voice in your head. So at this point, I'm going to read a tiny excerpt from the last chapter of my book, The Gift That Keeps on Giving. So here goes. Dear reader, this last chapter isn't really a chapter, but a short note to you. Personal development isn't a magic potion or a one-step process. When I first got myself into the cycle, I didn't do it with a forever guarantee. Don't be hard on yourself. Being a person in this world is hard enough as it is. When you make a mistake, remind yourself that you're a work in progress. When you do something right, recognize that you're another step closer to the person you want to be. I've heard people say that life is just a process of growing into yourself. With every hardship and celebration and another year of being alive, we get closer and closer to becoming ourselves, becoming more visible. It's easy to lay low and disguise our quirks and flaws because we think it keeps us safe. Going beyond what we're told, exploring ourselves and our passions, finding our footing, those are the things that make us feel like we're beyond just a body taking up space. Let yourself mess up sometimes. At least you're doing something. Let yourself be happy. You deserve it. Ask yourself how your interests align with what the world needs and figure out your niche, the one that only you have. There are so many joys and struggles we have yet to experience. That is so exciting. Your whole life is going to be so exciting. We deserve to feel empowered and to thrive, no matter where we go from here. Remember that if you make a mistake or break a habit, you don't have to start all over again. Remind yourself that no one and nothing can change the fact that you have made progress, that you are trying your best to do better. Your mistakes don't erase any of your successes. If you have a few bad weeks and realize that you have broken every single one of the healthy habits that you started, brush it off and pick up where you left off. You're good. Something I could not feel stronger about is the fact that it's never too late for anyone to unlearn their bad habits. If you don't know you deserve happiness, but you wish you could just be okay, that's a great start to self-growth. When I started out trying to figure out where I was going wrong, why I wasn't okay, there were a million things that came to mind. So much that I told myself, you're just emotionally unstable. You're lazy, you're needy, and it's going to take you years to change any of those things. Now that I'm much healthier than I was a year ago, I'm happy. But that's not to say that I'm set for life, complete with written instructions on how to be a perfect person. Like I mentioned in earlier chapters, I've struggled with friendship since I was at least 10 years old, and that's something I still have to work on. They're just complicated. This whole process of getting to know myself is so fun for me because I'm the one in charge. I know what I'm thinking, there are no surprises, it's all under control. On the flip side, other people are wild cards to me. They change unexpectedly, and sometimes they make choices that bewilder me. To those of you who don't feel the same, I probably sound crazy. But hey, that's part of it. For some of us, some things about humanness just make sense. And for others of us, those same things can be full-on mental labyrinths. It's important to be respectful of other people who struggle with their identity in ways we don't understand. And it's also important to be respectful of ourselves when we struggle with parts of our identity that other people don't. None of us are the same. The important thing is that we're all okay. It isn't necessary for us to completely understand why we or others struggle with a certain part of ourselves. But it is necessary for us to act in whatever kind and compassionate ways that might help us accept those parts of ourselves. With love, Malavika. You can find more lessons related to self-compassion and my learning experiences in my book, The Gift That Keeps on Giving, which I wrote for middle and high schoolers who want to learn to manage their mental health. To learn more about my book, you can simply search up my name on Amazon or speak to one of us in the ICC youth team. Thank you so much.